Welcome everyone to the South Side Kōrero. My name, of course, is Vincent Tyron Vitolino. Today was a very impactful day. I'm going to mark this in my calendar as one of my most important journeys. I call these episodes, but today felt like a journey. We share this spotlight with Joseph, and I just want to hear your thoughts on today's podcast, how you felt about it.
Bro, first of all, thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
It's a very interesting, very beautiful space because you normally hear of all these high-profile people on these different podcasts, but to be invited in such a beautiful space to kind of sit even plain with them, that's how it felt today. It really is. It's been great to be able to talk and just have a mean-ass wānanga about life and what we've learned from them. So, ngā mihi to you, my bro. It's amazing. Absolutely so grateful, so thankful for today's episode and for this year.
I call them episodes, but today was a journey, and I hope you join our journey from 00000 of this episode. Kia ora.
So my name is Joseph Paulo, and as a reference to my dad and also my mum, passed away in 2019 from the Tupua dynasty. Interesting thing about whakapapa ona Māori with the way they introduce themselves. I'm born and bred in Aotearoa. My tūranga waiwai is Tāmaki, and my hometown is obviously some of the most strongest and talented people, Otara. So that's me.
How was it like growing up in Otara for you?
Otara was awesome, bro. It was beautiful, bro. We used to hang out at the park, till 2 a.m, playing music, and there was just no worry about anything funny going on. I mean, the hood was always the hood. There were the stories that you would hear through the grapevine. Something negative's happened here, but I was kind of like Otara was beautiful for me because it was an escape from the things that I found challenging at home. I had made some awesome friends. And that was the first time we moved into Otara in 1995, and someone said, "You sound like a white guy." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know what that means," but I learned really quickly. Oh yeah, we talk different. That's sweet. Okay then. But bro, it was beautiful. The PlayStation hadn't come out yet.
Yeah.
The Game Boy hadn't come out yet. Showing my age now.
No, trust me, I'm in that same boat as you.
But bro, it was guitars. You could hear a uke everywhere.
Yeah.
The pools, the Kirk Memorial pools.
Yep.
That was a place to go to, and the rec centre used to be $1 to go in, and you could go in and just shoot hoops. There was a 274 program that was going on. Bro,
Yeah, I remember that, man.
That was rocking, man. If anyone's listening, please bring it back. So it was beautiful, bro. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff that was going on in the hood, and even today you hear all these different, like they still play on stereotypes. You see it, but then I'm like, man, I drive to the hood and I'm like, yeah, there's still elements of the past that's still in there, but the potential of what comes out of the hood, bro. I was very leaning towards reading and that kind of stuff, and I thought South Auckland didn't have that kind of stuff, and then you got to meet that there were academics in Otara, there were poets, and all you hear was music and gangs. Bro, by that ground level, you had some talented carpenters. It was cool. I went to a school called Beds Primary and Beds Intermediate. That was cool, and I kind of wanted to go to Hillary, but their mum sent me to St. Peter's, and that was I always I couldn't wait after school. I was like, I need to get back home to the hood. Yeah. Anything out of the hood was strange, but it was basic. It was simple. We knew our friends' names. We knew what their triggers were. We knew what made them happy. We ate at each other's house. We got hidings for being out too late. Yeah. But man, I honestly felt like it was a hell of a lot safer back then, to be honest. I could walk through, I don't know if the tail is still there now, bro. They would say never walk through that bridge at Pearl Baker at night time.
Yeah.
I used to walk through there at night time and go see my mates, come back. I'm like, man, who starts up this stuff? Oh, it's all good. You just, it's a good place.
Yeah.
The best pies and sausage rolls. on the planet. I'm just saying. Even though living out in West Auckland with the best bakery apparently, but Young's Bakery for life.
Oh,
there's another long answer for you.
No, all good. No, it was beautiful because this time around, because I will talk to guests and they will have their own answer of Otara. I can technically walk in those steps because at around that time I was 5 and 6. You know, you said 1985. I'm like, yo, I can imagine myself because I was like the same. You know, mum was strict, but that's how it was with mum and dad. And, you know, you're supposed to be home by 5 or 4 before the street lights go up, and you're like going, oh shit. So you go through the shortcuts and you go, oh yeah, I'll go here, you know. But I can imagine myself go back into that time period of just. Those were safe because you know the only thing you had to worry about was the school bully when he sees you go, hey, have you got my lunch money? But damn, I could imagine that. That was that was cool.
It was basic life, bro. I miss what it was like then. Now it's weird driving through Lappington and I don't see a single kid on the playground anymore. I don't see kids out with music instruments. Like, man, what's going on? It's
so quiet.
It's like, what are you guys up to? Oh, I'm playing Fortnite with my boys.
Oh, I know, right?
There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm like, man, it's
I because I live in a cul-de-sac not too far from Preston. And I would have kids like riding in bikes and whatnot, and we'll all get together and play cricket at the end of the road. You know, and it was like. I used to remember I used to do that sort of thing, and so
I used to remember when if you'll be so do it down by Julian Place, and those all the way up by Flatbush would hear about who's the best handball.
Yo,
no social media, just word travel from Clydemore to Beards to Flatbush, you know, all the way to what's another? There was a primary school that everyone loved. Bro, do you remember which it's behind the shops?
Yeah.
Not Mayflower.
Not Mayflower. Mayfield?
Mayfield.
Yeah.
So that was the school that I remember growing up with. I was like, Mayfield is the best school. But with no social media, no phones, no nothing, they were like, bro, have you heard of this guy named Thomas from Beds in St. He's the best handball. And then you'll meet up that's somewhere off Preston Road.
Yeah.
And that was cool.
Yeah, and then when you play like primary rugby, and you like see the boys from the other schools, you go yeah. you try your very best to go to them. Like, yeah, bro, I'm the best in my school. And rugby didn't care for gender. The girls were just as hard at. Yo,
I had this girl named Bex.
Yeah,
she tried to run through her, and I was like, it's not working.
I had a similar story. I had a girl, I think her name was Alison. She was like tall, and I remember running, and I saw grass, I saw a few players, and then I saw the air. Because then all I saw was curly hair down at the below, and then I saw the ground, and I went. I'm a big guy, right? I'm like, well, at the time I was 5'5" and still have my growth spurts at the time, still growing. But oh man, the girls were like, they were rough, man.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, some of them may have been beautiful, but don't run at them on the rugby field, bro. You go, are you sure? Nah, man.
Nah.
But it was cool, man. I felt safe around my friends.
Yeah, man.
But one thing I loved about Otara was the mocks were pretty heavy. But bro, it got to the point was I'll go home sometime and I go, man, stupid Clayton, he's beating me again. I'll be sitting there going, what other mock can I think of? Go back, try another one, Clayton burns me again. Oh man. It just became that feel good thing where there was no like hard feelings to it. Whereas today, man, he says something that's slightly it's just a harmless joke,
and then straight into hands. You know, that was
your Facebook post has been reported. Okay, you've been flagged on TikTok.
Okay. Yeah. So what? So you know, you explained about Otara, and we both went into a nostalgia trip. What got you out of Otara? What made you wanting to leave Otara?
I didn't want to leave Otara, to be honest. Like you said earlier, life happens. bro, to be kind of honest, I'm looking at back and asking myself, what the heck what happened? You know, I think like got into uni, a whole lot of stuff went down. I think, gosh, where did I move to after Otara? Left Otara, then I was bouncing between my mates' houses. Bro, 2005, 2006. Ended up in Māngere for a little bit. I think if to answer that question, bro, would be I had heard all these things of, there was a saying that would say only the hood can save the hood.
Yeah.
And so they would say, but for that to happen, you first have to leave the hood, find opportunity, get things right, come back and give back to the community. I think that was kind of a core thing, but I think fate just had its way. I think God was kind of just saying, probably decided that he needed to pull me out and drag me through some stuff that eventuates to these type of conversations, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to leave, bro, and there's a part of me that still wants to come back home. I don't know what it is. It's kind of saying not right now, but I do want to come back home. But I never wanted to leave. I left home in Otara. I wasn't getting on well with my focus at the time. But what do? You're 17, 18, you think you know everything. But that was probably the main cause of me leaving Otara, was to get away from mum and dad. Kind of get away with what was happening at home. But yeah, we ended up, I'd always come back home, bro. Something would always call me to come back, but I think I was just a teenage know-it-all.
Yeah.
Thought I knew everything, and if I had just probably listened to my mum and dad a bit more, things might have panned out a bit better, but that is what it is.
Yeah, no, I understand that because, like I said in my early introduction...
You made me search, bro.
I'm sorry, brother, I'm sorry.
It's all good.
No, because I also went there going, yeah. So, yeah, like I said earlier, my mother and father is Samoan, and I had times in my head where I would think, man, if I just run away, or if I can, I'll probably do good, I'll live my own life, because then I got into the age around like 20, 21, and it's like, oh wow, my friends at the moment from high school are already got houses now, they're already renting, and
yeah, bro,
you think to yourself, shit, I can probably do the same thing, but then mum and dad goes, hey, but you got a home here, and I'm going, but I want to do my own things, and then back and forth arguments and whatnot, and then things tend to happen. But at the same time, I look back at it after those arguments and whatnot, they become words to me. They're just like, well, they were there to protect me because they know themselves, because they've already experienced it themselves.
It's a funny thing that
yeah, man. So they go through that experience. They've already done it themselves, but they want to do better by you. Yeah. So I heard when I heard you say that, I was like, yeah, no, I understand that absolutely.
Lot of stuff that I look back at it now, and the space that I've been swimming in, bro, and kind of walking through is really trying to understand why mum and dad were the way they were. And because I'm 37 now, and like life is starting to change for me. I'm looking at my physical appearance, and I'm feeling my body telling me things that hey, you need to sort this out. You've eaten too much, you've had too much of that fluid, and then I think back to a lot of the stuff that my mum and dad did. So I've actually to getting myself to kind of deep dive into why they were that way. And for that, I kind of realized I don't need to really forgive mum and dad for anything, really. They operated out of a system that I was too young and, too naive to really understand. Yeah. So I look back at it now and go, man, if I was a bit more clued on, I probably would have stayed home. I probably would have eaten more arguments with my mum and just recognize, hey, man, you're just a kid. There's reasons why they're doing what they're doing. And I guess that's where a lot of the disconnect came from, and that I'm trying to explore now with other people, is try to understand the thing, how they perceive things back then, and then see what resonates from that. Mum and dad will go, I think you can understand too, so that our folks came from a time zone where it was like your guard was up all the time.
Nah,
you know,
absolutely.
so that made sense to me now when I look back at it. Man, okay, I understand you, mum and dad. And then I look back and I go, man, if I can go back and somewhat time travel, I'll probably go and pull my ears. Like, bro, you're a dick. You need to straighten your attitude up. You don't get it. But then what's the point? You're young and know it all. But yeah. So yeah.
Nah, I love that answer because my dad passed away like 2 years ago, and and over the 2 years, I'm thinking to myself, I was like, Dad, that was hard on me for a reason, and then I realized I'm only thinking about all the bad stuff, like all the growlings and whatnot.
Yeah, bro.
And then underneath the undertone is there are times where he's like, "Oh, son, I'm proud of you." Like there was this one moment I will treasure it for the rest of my life. Is that I just graduated with my third piece of paper for a diploma in IT. Dad comes up to me, and goes, "Son," and I'm going to do my best dad impression. Yeah. So he goes, "Son, you know, we do the thing we love. We do the things that for you we love you, and we're proud of you for doing the thing." And I go, "Oh, thanks, Dad." And he goes, "You know, I work hard for you to have this house so you can live the life that you can live, son." And I'm like, wow. And I didn't get it because I was on my PlayStation at the time, you know, just focused on playing games. And then it took me until a very long time to go, hey, I'm living in a house that I don't have to worry about a mortgage or whatever, because mum and dad's hard work you can see it right in front of you. And it's a thing that I'm still trying to search with mum, because mum was the hardest part of the obstacle for me, because he was my biggest opponent, and we're still trying to learn each other and whatnot. Yeah. So I understand.
Bro, hearing that, something just stands. One thing I realized is that with our parents, so I think back to my siblings, they can do things that I can't do in terms of traditional Samoa. The key difference was when they were growing up, when Dad went fishing or hunting, they could go. Here in New Zealand, you can't take your kids to work with you. Really, eh? So I think that's where, like, how I was thinking to myself, man, how difficult it must have been for your dad to try and go, man, how do I can't take him out to the Mokmanga to do the plantation. I can't take him fishing with me. I can't take him into this warehouse or this office because of all the hazards and so forth, you know. And so all he knows is, okay, this world is about earning the money, provide a better education, let them choose for themselves. Just realizing, holy heck, you know, they weren't in their environment where I'm pretty sure that if I lived in Samoa and learnt a little bit more, I probably would have been closer with my dad. Yeah. If that resonates, bro, like, because I would have gone out with him and learned how to sharpen the sapelu, how to dig the whole plants, and all of that stuff translates to life lessons. Just hearing what you said, and I'm going, bro, I just realized that they were living in an environment that wasn't akin to what they grew up with. So how do you hunt Pakiawe?
Yeah, or how do you mangava sort out your family, because it wasn't just your family, it was your other cousins and your aunties out there, because you were in a village. How do I bring kupe, money, because that wasn't just the concept in Samoa, it was other things like me and whatnot. So when I think about my dad waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you know, and he goes, because he was a carpenter, he was a cabinet maker, so he would make cabinets out in East Tamaki. And he will work with my brother. So my brother works there with him, and I was too young to think about it. I'm thinking about it when I was like in my teens, going, how could he work so early and then come home so late, you know, without feeling so tired? How could he have so much time for us, you know? So I don't blame him for having so little interaction with me, because he was so busy trying to provide and trying to keep up with what he was taught, you know. So it was an interesting concept. So,
you know what? I used to always hear my dad goes, and I'm like, he'd be like, you're sleeping so long, the day's almost over. It'll be 5:30 in the morning, and he goes, it's 5:30 in the morning, he goes, get up, it's almost 12 o'clock at midday, and I'm like, But then when I went to my mom's funeral in 2019, I understood why. So my uncle was like, why are you going to sleep in so long? takes the whole day to do things, and then I see you people rushing around because it's almost dark.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
What ball?
It's not just about work. It was making, and I'm really convicting myself here, making use of the time that we're given. Because us here, bro, we take it for granted. We sleep in like it's nothing. And even the stuff that I'm doing now during the day, I'm going, I have to go deliver these documents in the city. And I'm like, oh, one more hour. Then I leave at 12 and I go, dang it, I've got 3 hours to deliver.
Oh, son,
5 hours worth of work.
No, I'm guilty of that as well.
I just hear my dad goes,
Yeah, and it's like because my if it wasn't my dad, it would be my mum because she's the second. I call her the second alarm clock. So it's like
the one that hits you.
Because dad's too busy doing other things. Mum's going, and he's just like, hey, Mum's, veilig kami. Just a full.
I reckon, man. Good memories, bro.
No, absolutely. So, we were talking about our parents and whatnot. I want to get into your work. So, you said that you help people.
Yeah.
Would you go further and explain what sort of help do you give out to those who need it?
So the stuff I do now is, what I did professionally was a housing intake coordinator, and then what they called a community connector after that. So all of the stuff that was going on throughout the kind of the COVID years. The housing intake coordinator was about meeting whānau in terms of where they are, and then creating almost like a metaphorical fire pit where they would sit there with you and throw everything out into the fire. And that from that practice, it taught me to not so much hear the story, but to hear the elements of te whare tapawhā that's going on. So as they're talking, I'm looking at their body language and I go, okay, they're stressing out about that, and I'll note it down, and okay, that's what's impacting them physically, because it's connected to their mind. And in that role, and I still do some of that now, but kind of at a micro level, and the reason for that is I'm trying to deal with my own mental health at the moment.
That's right.
So I'm finally getting to the point where I'm now actually, I can't run from it, and I have to deal with it. So the support that that me and my wife do now is we kind of keep things basic within the people that we work with. So they'll come to us and say, look, there's a situation that's happened. From your experience, what do you recommend? And then we'll spend some time with them, and then we'll feed them kind of bite-sized stuff in terms of this is what you can do. Some of the conversations we have are quite confronting, because some people struggle with the idea that, I don't want to politely get my point across, I want to yell my point across.
Yeah.
And so we try to work with our whānau that's within our immediate space, and we're learning to create our own circles. And by teaching them what we have, they can go out and replicate those same skill set. So from time to time, we'll get a phone call or a message from someone that's struggling to get into housing, especially social housing, and be able to then tell them this is what you're going to expect. Especially with whānau, we'll go, hey man, I want to get into kainga ora housing. What do I got to do to go through this and that? And then right from the beat, just to say, look, it's going to be hard. You're going to wait for ages. Here's what you need to do to be able to address everything around you that's making you need kainga ora housing. Is it whether you need a financial mentor, connecting you to food parcels. One of my favorite things I like to do now, bro, is when I speak with whānau who are scared to go to a budgeter, and be able to encourage them that the playing field of budgeting has changed. It's no longer called, they're trying to come away from the word budgeter. They're getting to what they call financial coaching or financial management, and that is understanding that your kai is connected to our emotions. For a lot of Pasifika, we discuss things either at having food or after eating food. And so being able to tell them, look, you're a mum of 5, you're a solo parent, or you're a solo dad of 5 children, you got 5 kids that you need to pick up from school, settle them down when they get at home, prepare dinner, sort your own dinner out, prepare yourself for work tomorrow, then you got to get them all into bed and settle them in. What's the best thing for you to do to save time? Takeaways.
It's easier.
Budgeting would say, "Oh, you're spending too much money on fish and chips, too much money on McDonald's and stuff like that." But when you connect whānau to all these different services, they'll find out things like school uniforms they can't keep up with, no school shoes, and then be able to tell them, "Hey, did you know that there's funding available where you don't have to provide all this information? You just got to tell the school." So that eliminates all of that. Could it be stationery? Could they be having problems with, so that the space I'm working in at the moment is around the debt collection space. So I do that at the moment with that type of work, and I still kind of inject that community element in, because when you provide someone with a legal document, like, what do I do? I've had people that would break down and cry because my life's over. So, well, no, it's not over. Here's who you can talk to. Here's what you can do. And providing them the tools for them to go and do it. So, as in terms of talking about the last space of my journey at the moment, is in terms of helping people, is no more saving them, but providing them with the tools where they can then save themselves. And this is going to sound tough for a lot of our people in our community, and then once giving them the tools to go away and save themselves, to be okay with it. Whether they succeed or not, to be okay with it. And that's something that someone told me in the last few months, where they said, "We don't want you to rely on us. We need you to be self-empowered." That hurt. I didn't like hearing that, but it was the truth, and it's benefited, because again, the fingers are pointed back to yourself now. What am I controlling? I hope that answers your question. So it's a lot of what I'm really doing now is just trying to connect people to, here's who you can talk to. If that doesn't work, here's who else you can talk to. And then if you have any issues, you've got my number, come back to me, let me know what's happening, where are you stuck, and then I will guide you somewhere else. So not so much what I was doing was throwing myself in a mix, burning myself out trying to save everyone. What I'm doing now is, okay, what are you going through? Walk me through what's happening. Tell me your story. Okay, let's sit down for a second to unpack what that means, put it into a format that they can understand. And by that is, when you listen to someone's trauma story, quite often you hear all the pain and everything, right? But what we do with whānau is we flip the te whare tapawhā on them to say, okay, you went through this, and this. This has developed resilience. This has allowed you to be alert and mindful of these situations that have come about. And then to be able to throw statistics at them and say, 69% of the time people would run. You've gone way past it, which means you're a lot more stronger than you think. So rather than walking away with all their trauma, they walk out of the room going, wow, I am amazing. I had no idea that I could do that. And that's infectious, bro. And then they go tell somebody else, and they tell somebody else. That's what I want to do, is take people's stories of hardship, make them see the learnings and the strengths they have within that, and then send them away feeling no longer a victim, but feeling a superhero of themselves. Really? Yeah. Because
this is what we're doing here, Will. This is it. This is it to a core, where every person who I talk to, no matter who you are, and this is what I love about the range of the guest, is that, because I have three things in my mind currently at the moment. I'll share the first one, which is the range of guests. Doesn't matter what position they're from. They could be the highest position, the CEO, or the lowest position, as a cleaner, or better yet, homeless, because they all have stories behind them, and every story interconnects back to them. They have many. I think of it as like strings from a spider's web. Every string has been woven into their own story, coming back to you in the middle as the spider, as you're trying to catch things as they go. Talking to you today is God must be nice, and Will was beautiful for sharing you here, because it was just hearing it just resonates. I feel like I'm the spider in the middle, grabbing all this beautiful knowledge, and it's wonderful to hear it. And you mentioned something about food and Pacifica culture. When you were talking about what you do, is I'm thinking about kongai every Sunday, where the proper way of it, where Samoan families get together and they have the kongai, and then at the end, around the end, they'll have the meeting.
Yeah.
They'll start talking about family discussions, what's going on within the family. And I was thinking to myself, man, that is exactly what it is when you were discussing it. I can imagine myself being an auntie or an uncle, and I'll stand up and going, well, there's a family death coming up, and we need this amount of kupe. Could someone be able to do that? And they'll look around the room, and auntie will stand up and go, okay, I can whalafu this amount of money. And I love and then they sort of from there. And that's where with my dad's family, they do it the Samoa way, where they have the kongai, and they'll talk about discussions about family problems or events that are happening within the family. And just listening to your work, I'm going, that's exactly it, That's what I feel, because we're gathered around, symbolically a campfire, and we're all here listening to each other. What are the needs? But in a proactive approach, you made sure that yourself, when you're working with people, is taken care of. And this is my last part of so I had 3 thoughts, and this is my last thought, which is I used to work as a student council member, and I would burn myself out.
Brave role.
Thank you. I would burn myself out because students had needs. Yeah. And I took on everything. I took all the emotions and all that stuff. So we're hearing this from you, I'm going, whew, I knew that feeling. I was just like, God, how were you able to manage those sort of feelings with people? Because mental health wise, that's taxing. It is.
At first I thought, great, this is amazing. I feel pumped that I've been able to give someone a space to kind of talk about stuff that they're going through. But then as time went along, it actually did start to rip me up now. It was starting to, my mental health just started to deteriorate rapidly, to the point where I thought, okay, I'm going to leave this role to go into this role, because I'm not going to have to deal with all that trauma. And then I walked into that new role having not addressed what's happened with the first role, right? And it's within the same organization. And I have to give full credit to people who work in those type of things, like community work and social work. It's heavily underrated. It's totally misunderstood. And the amount of emotional taxation that it takes on a person's body and mind it's huge. How did I deal with it? At the very beginning, I didn't. I was like, no, I'm Superman. I'm here to save them. I'm here to help them. I'm here to support them. I cannot afford to be weak. I cannot afford to be emotional. I have to help these people. I have to carry them. Then I hit a wall in November of last year. And I mentioned this in another podcast, where I actually began to become quite toxic, because I'm now starting to fall apart, and I'm realizing I have all the stuff that's going on in my own world and I haven't dealt with it. In fact, it actually happened a lot earlier than that, probably a year prior to that, where I started making silly decisions and trying to hold myself when really I needed saving now. But when you're working in that type of space, you got COVID that's happening. You can't really go out. It's hard to find someone to do supervision. It's difficult to connect with people who are like, look, we're going through COVID just like you. We don't want to hear what you're going through. Deal with it. That's hard, and I don't blame anyone for that. That was a universal thing for all of us. How did I eventually start dealing with it? I had no choice really, bro. So December last year, resigned from my role. January, I took in some part-time security work. Then I started to do it all over again. I started to thought saving people was going to help me feel better. What I then started to work on was I started seeing a psychiatrist on a regular basis. I started pulling myself away from all the places where it was taking from me rather than reciprocating. And being able to work with people who allow, so I have people in my circle now, my wife and I, who allow us to be our absolute self and not feel scared of anything coming back to us. Like that some of the conversations I have with my close friends is people sit around and thinking, are you guys okay? But it's our humor. It's the way we deal with things, and we vomit everything out, no matter how nasty it is, and then to still see the beautiful person behind that, and this it's connected to this. One of the there was an accountant that I met And it's the same thing with people who are going through stuff. The accountant said people leave church because they're offended by the people, but people forget that behind the people, God's still there. All right, and it's the same thing when you listen to trauma. You can hear the trauma and you see all the behavioral patterns and it looks bad, but behind all that is the person that's going through stuff. So 3 things that that's helped me work through my mental health at the moment is, one is get help. The second thing is design or create your own inner circle, which comes with the fact that you need to stop chasing. I needed to stop chasing people who I felt were bigger and higher than me. Let go of that stuff, get help, build your own inner circle, and then again, this going to be challenging for a lot of our Pacific and South Side families, is the third thing is focus all your energy on yourself. Why is that so important? I have a wife with epilepsy, and me going back to the gym and getting to things like powerlifting again is that if my wife has a seizure and it's bad and my back can't carry her, there's an issue. So by focusing on my physical health to get myself strong again, it allows me to be more formidable and to be more strong for my wife. So those 3 things. 1, get help. No shame in that. There's no embarrassment in that. Kawe whakamā. It's important. Sharing our problems was not an issue as Indigenous people in our history. It was because we had an environment that allowed us to do that. So get help. Design your own inner circle. Find who texts you back. That kind of thing. Who messages you on Messenger. Who always comments on your posts. Those people are taking interest in you. They're listening to something that you say resonates with them. And the people that constantly connect with you, those are the people you want in your circle. Build around them, and because obviously there's something that connects, and then both save yourself. That sounds really selfish, but you need to make sure that you're good, that your mental diet is good, so that you can handle what else comes your way. Those are three things, bro, that I could offer to. That's how I'm dealing with it at the moment. Obviously, I think my psychiatrist has to go see a psychiatrist after listening to it. But it's the best thing ever, bro. Just to, they listen and they go, okay, what I'm hearing is this, and I'm like, oh yeah, didn't see it that way. And one of the biggest lessons that I've learned from my psychiatrist, bro, is I have this really bad habit of thinking myself into stress. And it's common in the hood because they're like, oh, they're going to judge us because of Motara. Oh, they're going to judge us because we're brown or we're Pasifika. But how do you know? It's how do you know that's what they think about you? When, they might be Palangis, but then they might be the most beautiful people that's been God sent your way to help you out. And so to teach myself there's a negative thought that's coming into my mind. It comes from somewhere because something set it off. And tell myself, no, don't dwell on that because I'm going to get angry and I'm going to get stressed. Now I'm causing myself stress. But I'm pretty sure some listeners who are listening will go, man, I do that to myself. I start winding myself up, but I haven't even talked to the person. Yeah. I'm just preparing myself for what could happen. But that's something I'd like to put on the table is when you hear yourself starting to get caught up, stop and think, man, am I thinking myself into stress? Am I doing it to myself? Chances are you probably are. And then kind of walk away from you. Yeah. And revisit what that thought is. Chances are it's just something to, and you sort of just one of those thoughts that are like, oh yeah, that happened. Okay, see you later. But when you focus on it, you then all of a sudden you're having this invisible conversation with that person you're going to argue with. Can anybody relate?
No. I'm gonna say this. This is the very first time that I feel so. It feels eerie, because I feel like and I'm gonna be honest with Will, and I'm gonna be honest with yourself. I feel like I'm talking to a mirror, because all the 3 points that you went through is what I'm still trying to do at this point in my life, which is. I'm trying to ask for help. I'm going through my 3rd or 4th counselor at this point.
Awesome.
I'm building my circle of trust. Will's in my circle. Will basically, and I'm going to share this for the very first time, Will basically got me out of that circle. Funny enough, we met at MIT when I was in my council years, and Will asks me this question, how long do you want to do this? You don't, you're not going to be happy here. And I'm like thinking to myself, it's like, it'll be fine, Come to my final year of student council, and I'm the vice president, so I've gone up a step, and I'm already like, COVID just hit, and I'm already like burnt out. I'm done. Will messages me one day and he goes, "Hey, we're going to do a podcast about COVID. You want to join me?" And I sat down going, this is the moment where I wanted to escape, and I escaped from that job. And I talked to my president at the time. He goes, "Look, I'm not happy. I'll support you on any decision. If you just need my name, I'll put my name down. But at this stage, at this point of my life, I cannot be there for you because I'm gone."
Yeah.
So I joined Will, and I do this 2-year stint with him, and I'm still going, and it's wonderful. That last point where you have to love yourself, to be kind to yourself, that's an ongoing battle. So just hearing the 3 points that you said, I literally feel like I'm looking in a mirror.
Wow.
Yeah.
Namahi, bro.
Thank you, brother. No, thank you for sharing that.
It's all right. Beautiful, bro. It's about a meeting. It's it's these stuff. I'm getting all these positive memories, these lessons in my mind right now, understanding why. Did you ever grow up and I'm like, don't disturb your dad, he's sleeping?
Yeah.
We understand now why, eh?
Yeah.
Say, that's our protector, he needs to sleep. Leave him alone. So we need to do ourselves the same, service to sleep. And, bro, I'm happy to jam with you some more, keep connecting offline and stuff like that. It's kind of cool having your own Nick Fury, eh? Will, bringing people together. He's an awesome and amazing man. So,
it's cool, and I appreciate you offering that. I will be very honest, and even Will can back me up on this, is that even a person like Ruben Wiki, who came up to me like that, who did that to me, who offered help, I'm still. How can I say, I'm still in that parental defense mode where I'm just like, oh, okay, thank you so much, I'll accept it. But I've learned to basically go, okay, am I willing to take the first step towards it? So thank you for the kind offer. I'll let you know. I'll let you know for sure. But this is why you need someone in your circle, right? Like we will discuss, is that someone will be very truthful to you, but they will be truthful to the point where they don't mean no harm. But they will tell you, okay, this is what we see from the outside. And that's what the help part is with a counsellor. They're fresh set of eyes, where your eyes are so tired, you can see better.
It's freaky when they do their thing, eh?
Yeah, man.
I'm like, are you in? Did you talk to my mum before I came to the decision? You know too much. How did you... Wait, so it's rigged.
Are you sure you're not working for the police?
Oh, man. Beautiful.
So finally, we'll come up to our last 2 questions of the podcast. Yes. I could talk to you for days, but like all good things, it must come to an end. My second to last question would be what do you see yourself doing in the next 5 to 10 years? What is the future for Joseph? What is it that you want to see?
I still want my red dot. That's TED Talk. I would love to do my own TED Talk. Few steps to go yet. The dream of I still would like to go back to radio, in the capacity that allows me to be me. I can't. I'm always thinking, I really wish one day to do a TED Talk so that I can talk about stuff that I don't see or hear relative to our people. I want to write my own book. In fact, I've been writing a book for the last 10 years, and it's getting there. I don't realize how hard a book it is to write. But that's why I see myself 5 to 10 years. I'm on a plan right now to... we've just officially... I thought my charity was registered. It wasn't. It was incorporated, not charity registered. Now it is.
Yay!
And then going back into the world of business, because in order for me to have something like a TED Talk, I need to build something substantial, because that's the world. They want to visually see something that they can resonate with. I'm 37, 40. I want by 40 I gotta have a TED Talk. And, hopefully some. If not, I'm gonna make my own one.
Yeah,
with a blue dot instead.
Yeah, exactly. If you can't get there, make your own. Why not? Right? Damn. Like, first and foremost, we both think radio, we both want to go back to radio. We have radio. We basically got the technology to do it. You're an amazing individual to do podcasting. I want to throw the gauntlet at you, actually. Podcasting could be a way for you to get into both radio and into podcasting, because like I said, I learned it from 2 years ago that you don't have to be hello, welcome to KBI 123. You don't have to be that guy. You don't. Yeah. Stop it. Don't be that guy. No, I could be like, hey, what's up? My name is Vincent Tyron Vitellino, and welcome to the South Side Kōrero.
Yeah.
I can be that person, and I don't have to be anyone else but me.
Yeah.
So I see a beautiful podcast future for you if you wanted to do that. Absolutely. See, I'm already shilling, Will. God. I'm already shilling. And you were saying that you have a 10-year writing of a book. You've 37 because you've already been writing the book since birth. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Like, I got a 33-year-old book that I'm still writing on,
Yeah.
I could flip that into biography. So I wish you the best when you do get that book. I will be the first person to write that. Note that for me. I will be the first person. And coming into my last question, I don't want to end this. Honestly, I don't. But coming up to my last question, what is a piece of advice, a quote that you carry in your back pocket throughout your entire life that you want to share with our viewers?
Man, you're asking me a question that I ask other people. But I phrase the question a bit differently. The question I ask is, what are two things that you've always wanted to do in life, but for whatever reason you just cannot get to it? What are those two things that burn in the back of your brain? But when in the same way, advice, bro, what is that? I've always said to myself, just don't give up, man. I don't want to give anything fancy. That's just all I can say. I've known nothing else but grit and grind. Just to keep fighting, pushing, pursuing, whatever it is that you're going through, or whoever is watching and listening to this podcast. If you're going through something, the challenge is not you. You're not crazy. It's not all in your head. It's real. It's happening. If it wasn't real, your body wouldn't be reacting the way that it is. You wouldn't be having these emotions. Keep fighting, keep pushing, and if there's anything that, as we've talked about in this podcast, is ask for help. Keep shouting, keep screaming. The right person's going to hear you. The wrong ones won't pay attention. You don't want those people. The right ones will hear you. Keep pushing, keep grinding. Just don't give up on yourself. I can say that hand on heart, if I had succeeded in 2016, I would have not met all these beautiful people in my life. The brother here especially will. When I read Dad's, that stuff it tickled my fancy back then. So that, if I did that, if I had given up, I think about the impact it would have had on my wife and all my family. Just don't quit on yourself. I know it's tough. I know it's rough, man. I know a lot of people don't get it and a lot of people don't understand it. When people say that you're not alone, that's true. You're not. There are people out there. It's a matter of you shouting and screaming loud enough for them to hear you, and then they'll instant transmission to you like Goku. So don't give up. I'll share mine, which is any quote from Winston Churchill, because I think of from this standpoint. He's amazing.
He's beautiful. I always think of it of this standpoint. Winston Churchill was never looked at favorable as a prime minister.
Yeah,
they just thought of him as a transitional prime minister that will be forgotten because he was only perfect for the time being for what he was. But when you think about Winston Churchill fighting a bigger fight, he went against his own people from his own decisions. He went against, tyranny against a bigger country like Germany, and his own well-being. He had to fight his own decisions and whatnot. He overcame because he knew that he had to do it. He had to get through adversity. He had to go through to his own people to make himself understand that there are bigger things in life that will come by and will knock you down. But no matter what, he will get back up to fight twice as strong as he needed to be. So that's my thought of Winston Churchill.
100%, man.
Yeah.
Big grit, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, man. You'll bleed now, but you're going to come out all right.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
No, I appreciate it. The honor is mine, honestly. And again, it's just an amazing conversation with another amazing person. And
likewise,
I will come across more amazing people in my life, but today goes to you, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And once again, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Kia ora.